Hey everyone! I wanted to give you guys another update live on how we're doing. I thought I'd wait a little bit later today because I wanted to make sure that you all were awake since it is Saturday. I thought some of you might be sleeping a little bit later today. So I'm outside, so I'm really hoping that my internet will hold up. You guys can just comment in if it looks like there is a problem, and I will try to start over. But yeah, today I'm going to tell you how our night went, and also answer a question one of you sent me in via messenger last night, and explain why standing with Israel is actually being America first at the same time. So how was last night? It was interesting. We ended up sleeping in the miklat, or bomb shelter, last night. So in Israel we have two different types of bomb shelters and buildings. We have a miklat, which is the kind that's like actually like a basement underground, and then we have a mamad, and those were built in the 90s. So any building designed after, I can't remember, was it 1996 maybe, now has a bomb shelter in the apartment, and it's usually a small bedroom. Usually people will make it like their children's room. So our building was built in 1896, so it has a basement underneath that we use as our shelter, and it's actually a classroom, because of course we live on the school where my husband is the director, so which is a tremendous blessing. And then our miklat being a classroom is an additional blessing because it's actually a comfortable space. It has to be comfortable for students, so it's comfortable for us. And there's lots of books, and we keep storage back in a corner there. Ever since the war started on October 7th, we've kept our emergency supplies down there so that if we have a problem, we have things we need. But that's the second night in a row we've slept there. The first night was accidental. Well, I mean, not accidental, I guess that's not the word. I guess it was like spontaneous or surprise, because we went to bed in our house knowing that we could potentially be in a situation the next day or even overnight. And then of course we got that 3 a.m. siren, and so we all went down, and the small children and I ended up sleeping down there the rest of the night. We went up and down in shifts and brought down some sleeping bags and pillows, but it wasn't super comfortable, so we took down the air mattresses this time. And we had already gone ahead and planned that I would sleep down there with the small children regardless of what instructions were, because we just wanted to make sure that they didn't have interrupted sleep and they weren't startled and didn't have to deal with adrenaline in the middle of the night, those sorts of things. So we had our Shabbat dinner, and then after that we were watching a family movie, which is our normal routine for Friday nights. And around 8 o'clock we got a notification to stay near the shelter. So we went ahead and went down because we figured that means something's coming soon. So we went down and we stayed a while, and we were like, okay, maybe they're giving us a little more time than we thought. So Devin went up and got the air mattresses at that point, and when he came down, I was thinking, okay, I should probably start taking the kids up. I'll just take them up one at a time and get their teeth brushed and get their, a message flashed up on my screen. Get teeth brushed, get everybody in jammies, have everyone go pee-pee, all the things that you need to do with small children. Okay, am I still here? I think I got paused for a second. Someone give me a thumbs. Okay, I think I'm still here. Okay, so we got the notification that the siren was coming in the next few minutes. So we ran down, and then the siren started, and that started about 2 hours worth of rocket barrages from Iraq. And these were ballistics, and they came in, just a lot of them. I didn't get the count, but it was pretty intense. We were feeling the booms. They were shaking our building a little bit, and we could hear them, and it was loud. We had the kids, we turned the movie on that we were watching with them up in the house. We turned that on in the shelter so they could watch that. And we were joined by a few of our neighbors that live on campus with us. So it was a nice time. It's always kind of a nice type of fellowship and community, and we were all happy to be there together. But yeah, it went on for about 2 hours before it calmed down. And the way the barrages work, it's like they'll come in mass and then there'll be a pause for a while. So what we did was we basically during those pauses, we would take the other children up and get them changed and ready for bed, and take the dog out so she could do her business. And we kind of settled into bed about 10:30. And I went to sleep pretty well. And then at 1 a.m. we had another siren, and my children didn't wake up at all. I only woke up because my phone notified me. Probably if I had not had my phone on, then I probably wouldn't have woken up. I see my mom's here. Hi, Mama. You all give her a hug if you see her. Okay, so then it was quiet for a while, and then there's another barrage that happened around 4:30 a.m. I think. And I was watching that one on my phone, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, we're probably going to get a siren too. But we never did get a siren, although I heard that some of my friends in my mom's group were saying that they actually saw the rockets fly over Jerusalem, and someone else said that there was an investigation as to why we didn't get a siren, because we were supposed to have. But yeah, so in total there ended up being 4 barrages last night, and then we woke up this morning to see the impact in Tel Aviv in particular, where several buildings hit, because our missile defense systems are about 90% effective. A year ago, when we had that first attack from Iran, we had 99% effective rate, which was just outstanding, much higher than what is standard. So last night, I don't know what the rate was, but the fact that a few did get through wasn't completely unexpected. That's the reason we go down in our shelters, because this can happen. And 4 Israelis were killed. No, I'm sorry, 3. I initially saw a report that was 4, but then I think that was incorrect. I think it was just 3. 3 were killed, and I think there was over 70 who were injured. So this is pretty serious. This isn't, this isn't the same as when the Houthis send one over and we all go down just to be safe, but we know that the risk of harm is very low. This was a major attack. And what's really significant about it, and something that I want you guys to be really aware of, is that the military operation that Israel performed in Iraq targeted specifically military personnel and military sites. This was targeting civilian centers. So everything that they did in retaliation is a war crime. And I know that probably under international law, it is correct to say that Israel preempted the attack on Iran. But at the same time, when you consider that they have been funding the 13 proxies, they fund Hamas, they fund Hezbollah, they helped fund and mastermind October 7th. I mean, maybe, yeah, technically it was preempting attack, but at the same time, this needed to happen. So I think as a whole, we're mostly kind of relieved to finally be dealing with the head of this problem. And I think that's where most people are, and the Iranians are really celebrating. If you Google the hashtag Iranians stand with Israel, you'll see that they are so happy. They're celebrating in the streets. They're chanting death to the Ayatollahs. They are so happy that this happened, and really hoping that this will lead to their independence from this Islamic regime that has been persecuting them in such severe ways. So let's continue to pray for them. Let's pray that they do get to a place of peace and freedom again. So women aren't forced to wear hijabs, and they aren't forced into Islam, and that the underground church can rise up in freedom. Let's continue to pray for them. But I'll say too, it's not just the underground church that wants them overthrown. It's a lot of secular Iranians as well. I mean, this is a huge movement, and you can tell no one there's not an Iranian movement of protesting the war in Gaza. There's no large scale, I mean, I'm sure you'll find individuals, but there's no large scale effort of Iranians protesting us defending ourselves against Hamas, and it's because they know what's going on. So we have a lot to pray about. It's exciting times in history, I believe. So I did want to speak to something I said yesterday because I got a question about it. A friend asked me in Messenger what I was talking about when I said yesterday that I saw some post from far right MAGA people being negative about supporting Israel in this campaign against Iran. And she asked me who I was talking about, so I gave her some examples of like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And she was like, okay, I know who you're talking about. I want to be clear too that I am politically conservative. So the reason that I mentioned them though and not the leftist anti-Semites is because my assumption is that most of you are here because you're also conservative. You're probably mostly evangelicals, and if you're not evangelical, you're politically conservative, and that's probably why you're watching. And if you don't align in that way, then maybe you're just here because you're curious, But I'm assuming that most of you are well aware that there's anti-Semitism on the far left, and maybe the concept of anti-Semitism within kind of your own sphere is the area that's a little bit unfamiliar and unusual. Because for the most part, the Republican Party has been the pro-Israel party for decades now. So for this anti-Semitic spirit to be rising its head up on outskirts of the right is really unusual. So I kind of explained to her where it was coming from, and she was like, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. But then this morning, I woke up, and when I looked on X, I saw a tweet from Matt Walsh, and I didn't really prepare a lot of notes, but I did bring his quote with me because I wanted to show this as an example of what I'm talking about, because this is where I want you all to rise up in truth and just to speak out what is accurate, and even to have clarity of thought for yourselves when you see things like this, okay? So Matt Walsh, he said, Israel is its own country and perfectly capable of taking care of itself. We do not need to be involved in this and should not be. Our country is under invasion. Our cities are besieged by crime and dysfunction. Those are the problems we should be focused on fixing. Our people need to be protected and prioritized by leaders we've elected. America first, always. So that's Matt Walsh. So there are a lot of problems here. I think to start with, he's making this a false dichotomy, as if we cannot both be pro-securing borders and dealing with illegal immigration and standing with Israel. The fact that he's making this a matter where you have to choose one or the other is just completely a fallacy. It's not true. You can do both. And next, I'm a little bit like, okay, guys, after October 7th, when we experienced a very real military invasion, it's kind of like, okay, Matt, I don't know, like maybe you need to go get out of your small-minded world and just experience something a little different and understand how what you're dealing with illegal immigration is different than what we're dealing with over here. I don't know, it just seemed a little bit off to me there. But I will say though, like, I don't talk about this a lot because I don't want our family story to be politicized for the sake of my extended family. But my grandparents were actually killed by an illegal immigrant from Mexico when I was 17. And so my grandmother died at the time when I was 17. My grandfather died 4 years later from complications from the accident that he caused that led to my grandmother's death. And this is an issue that I've spent a lot of time reading about, because when someone illegal commits a crime, it was 100% preventable from the start because their initial crime was entering the country illegally, right? And when I know the story of the man that did this to my grandparents, there were a number of different turns where the government could have deported him and didn't. So this is very personal for me because of my family story, but at the same time, it's not a matter where American conservatives should be pinning one issue against another. you can fully support and stand with Israel, and you can really want your borders secure in America. You guys, it does not have to be one or the other. And I want you all to speak out about that and just continue to stand with Israel. And when you have friends that entertain that idea, I want you to be able to present them with what's true. So I did find a little bit of notes on this specific issue of immigration, illegal immigration, because I just think that Matt, I appreciate that he says that Israel is capable of taking care of itself. I appreciate his confidence in us, but I think he is really uninformed. Please do not go to him as a source on what the United States should do about Israel. He's very uninformed. The relationship that the United States and Israel have is bilateral, and you all really benefit from it in the way that Genesis 12:13 says, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. You all are blessed for blessing Israel. And one really specific example that's directly related to the immigration issue is through border technology. So there's an Israeli company called Elbit Systems. It's a high-tech company, and they specialize in securing borders, like border security, and also anti-tunnel technology. And so this Israeli company has been helping the United States since 2006 to secure borders. And so, you know, it was implemented originally by, I think, George W. Bush at the time, and continued on, that relationship's been continued on in different measures throughout the last few decades. But just recently, in 2024, AIPAC, who the anti-Semite conspiracy theorists like to demonize, they lobbied for greater funding for the United States-Israel Anti-Tunnel Cooperation Enhancement Act. And so that increased funding to Israel from 50 million to 80 million. Israel matches that dollar for dollar, uses their high-tech industry to develop anti-tunnel technology, and then it gives that same information back to the United States. So a lot of the technologies that you guys are employing to safeguard your borders are coming directly from a partnership with Israel. And so that's one reason in particular why I'm saying, like, this is not, it is very much a false dichotomy to hear this language from people kind of in a similar political value system, but who just don't get it when it comes to Israel. So it's one piece of apologetics for you. I should probably in the future do a more extensive video for the YouTube on this issue, because it is really interesting to learn about and see what exactly the company is doing. But yes, you can and should be able to want both. But don't listen to these voices that say all of our energy needs to go to this one issue and we can't stand with Israel. You guys stand with Israel, you know. I really do take God at his word when he says he will bless those who bless you. I really do. And I think that's one of the reasons why America has remained blessed, is because America has stood so strongly with Israel. So that's kind of one of the issues that I was talking about when I mentioned that yesterday. And it's just interesting to see these voices pop up. But as far as I understand, I saw from an anonymous source in the J-Post, the United States Air Force was fully cooperating with the Israeli Air Force last night in missile defense. And so we are so grateful for the support that we've received from the U.S. Air Force. And yeah, I mean, that event, even though we did lose 3 people, it could have been a much worse, much more catastrophic attack from Iran. We don't really know what to expect. It's been a very quiet day here in Jerusalem. We haven't had any red alerts at all. Very quiet. We've mostly been in the house kind of just resting and I guess just waiting to see what would happen. So I thought I would get my kids out now and also my dog, and just make sure we were getting some fresh air and sunshine and trying to live as healthy as we can. We don't know if we're gonna have school tomorrow. The regulations that they gave on Friday night, early Saturday morning, early Friday morning, sorry. Thursday night, early Friday morning, those regulations expire tonight at 8. And so then after that, we should know if we get, you know, if we go to school tomorrow or if we get another day off to do family time. You know, that's when we'll get a better sense of what, you know, what is going on here. There's a few things that we look at to kind of measure the climate in terms of the geopolitical issues, and one of them is the airlines, particularly El Al. It's not uncommon for the other airlines, like the international airlines, to all pull out, but El Al is an Israeli company that has a lot of government support. It's tax funded. It's like semi-governmental. They basically fly through everything, and they have canceled flights for the next week. And they have also told, they've released a statement saying that they're not going to book any new flights until after the 28th. So the fact that they've canceled flights for a week makes us a little bit concerned that the government is expecting, really expecting this to go on at least a week. They did tell us initially that it might be several weeks before we kind of get out of this this little patch of getting ballistics in from Iran. So I don't know how long it will be, but we do ask that you would continue to pray. That's one of the best things you could do, is just pray and ask the Lord to release his angel armies over Israel and to continue to protect us and keep us safe. But I want you guys to know that we're not afraid. We feel a lot of peace and just confidence in what God is doing right now. And so it's really good. Just really trusting God to keep his word for this nation. And we are completely peaceful. So things are good. Okay, well, since I was outside, I really do hope my internet held up for you all. I really appreciate that you jump on and watch. And I appreciate so much that you stand with Israel in general and our family specifically. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to write me. I did get a whole lot of messenger messages that I just haven't been able to go through all of them yet, so I apologize if I haven't gotten to yours, but I am working at it. And I will update you guys as we have need. See you later.